Ahoy there, Captain Benzie here, coming at you with a very special episode of the Frigate Pilot's Manifesto, this time based around the exciting new exploration and scanning update. As such, since these ships have just been returned to the limelight, I thought it'd be worth taking a look at the 4 Covert Ops Exploration Frigates at Tech Level 5, which is to say, the Probe Covert Ops, the Immicus Covert Ops, the Magnate Covert Ops, and the Heron Covert Ops. Yes, I'm doing 4 frigates in one video. That's how awesome these ships are. We're going to have a great time looking at these, what makes them different from each other, and which one you might want to use for whatever particular task you have at hand, because as a spoiler alert, as a frigate main and exploring the hell out of everything right now, I am using all 4 for different purposes, as we'll discuss in this video. Now, if you do enjoy this video and want to support the channel, you can do so as simply as hitting the like button. It really does make a difference, as does commenting down below to let me know what you think about these particular ships and opening up a discussion down there. If you want to see more content like this, make sure you are subscribed to the channel and you have dinged the notification bell and set all of the notifications to on. YouTube is terrible at announcing when certain content goes up, and you've probably missed out on a whole ton of content that you didn't even know existed, so make sure to ding that notification bell. Finally, if you are a big fan of the Catskull Academy or anything to do with this channel, we do have a Redbubble merchandise store. If you fancy having a t-shirt or a hoodie or even a COVID mask and things like that, check that out. Links are all in the description down below. With all that said and done then, let's talk about each of the 4 Exploration Covert Ops Frigates in turn and find out which one is your favourite. Let's start then with the Caldari State's Heron Covert Ops, as this is technically the first frigate in New Eden to be fitted with Covert Ops technology, possibly even the first ship to have it. It's an almost direct clone of the Heron's already incredibly capable hull, and it's modified only by the addition of a Covert Ops support subsystem, an extra layer of 200mm titanium diborite armor plating, and the interior space has been taken up by an additional secondary Ishikone Takashi model sustained shield emitter for additional defensive capability. The vast majority of the Heron Covert Ops' additional onboard systems, including the Covert Operations subsystem itself and additional shielding hardware, were a direct result of research and development from Project Mirage, which formed part of the Kriya-Lair collaboration project between the Federation and State. And if you're interested in learning more about Kriya-Lair, make sure you check out my video on 5 places I'm hoping to be added to Eve Echoes, because I go over that full story there. It's hilarious and would be worthy of a movie in its own right. Now, the Heron Covert Ops was built to the exact specifications requested by Admiral Okasaline Fukashi, head of the Caldari Navy Recon Division, and was the first production-level ship specifically built to take full advantage of the cloaking breakthroughs that were made during the ill-fated Kriya-Lair project. Now, in regards to the ship itself in Eve Echoes, let's have a look at its stats. It's a cool looking ship for starters, and I do actually quite like some of the skins, the Gurustus Veteran specifically. Can't wait to get my hands on one of them. But the Heron Covert Ops, as it stands compared to the other Covert Ops frigates, has the highest overall flight velocity. If you look down here though on its stats page, you'll see it's only 387, which doesn't make it sound like it's the highest. That's because under the trait description, you'll see that every single one of the Covert Ops frigates has these same bonuses to scan resolution, to resonance simulator minimum scan radius, and narrow resonance scanner scan radius. It's below this that they all get their own unique abilities based on frigate command, and the Heron Covert Ops gets an additional 5% flight velocity per level, up to a full 25% additional flight velocity with that at full training, making that then the fastest in basic flight velocity of all 4 of the Covert Ops frigates. It also has the largest of the shield tanks. If you can see here, it starts with a shield of 719 HP, and you can make this significantly bigger depending on your fit. It does also have the largest signature radius and source radius, but these are still both very small, what with it being a frigate. This is a ship that is excellent for escaping gate camps, due to the fact that it has that very fast flight velocity without the need for additional propulsion. If you land in a gate camp, essentially, you can double tap in the direction you want to go, immediately apply your Covert Ops cloak, and then power to safety on the edge of that bubble. This makes the Heron Covert Ops excellent for running gate camps. If you think the area you're going to be scanning in has gate camps already, 100% the Heron Covert Ops is the one I tend to undock and use for that. Because of this, I tend to lean into its bonuses, and personally, I rig for flight velocity, and I usually fit inertia stabilizers, and a prop mod. Not always though, but that's usually what I would fit if I know that I'm going to be going up against a gate camp at some point soon. While the collapse of the Creel Air project was a huge blow for both the Ishikone Corporation and Devol Laboratories, the after effects were felt on a much larger scale, influencing decision-making by both the Federation and State for years after the incident that brought the project to an end. The first result of that change in decision-making was the release of the Heron Covert Ops by the Ishikone Corporation, which was swiftly integrated into the ranks of the Caldari Navy, serving as their primary scouting vessel soon after its introduction. With Devol Laboratories tied up by a full review of its operations by a Senate Oversight Committee, the remains of their Creel Air-based research were handed to Creatron by FedCAF leadership, along with a contract to produce a counter to the Heron Covert Ops. The result was both the revised non-covert blueprint of the Immicus and an advanced version, the Immicus Covert Ops. The Immicus Covert Ops focuses more on operating as an all-out combat astrometrics platform, with most of its internal space allocated to additional scanning hardware and covert ops cloaking equipment. Now if we have a look here at the stats of the Immicus Covert Ops, you'll see that it's a little bit different to some of the others and kind of fits a more unique role, I feel, than some of the others. Of course, it is still the weirdest looking ship in the game, and none of the skins really make it prettier if we're being completely honest. Anyway, if we were to have a look at its trait description, you'll see it still has that same 7.5% increase to scan resolution, and the 5% reduction to resonance simulator minimum scan radius, and narrow resonance scan radius, so it still gets those same bonuses there as all of the other Covert Ops frigates do. The difference, however, is its frigate command bonus. Rather than the usual 5% increase to cargo hold capacity, it is an 8% increase. This gives the Immicus Covert Ops the largest cargo hold of all 4 of the Covert Ops frigates. It carries the most cargo, which makes it the best hauler. As it stands, it also has the largest structure tank, for whatever that's worth, but it's really that additional cargo space that matters with the Immicus Covert Ops. Whilst it's not quite as fast as the Heron, it's not as agile as the Magnate, it's still a pretty speedy little ship, and the fact that it can fit that Covert Ops cloak means it can run gate camps. If you want to get a load of stuff from A to B, and that's going to take you through hostile space, the Immicus Covert Ops is absolutely an excellent option for doing so. Again, I usually lean into the bonuses for that, so I tend to rig for additional cargo space. I fit inertia stabilizers into the low slot just in case I need them, and it makes an excellent vessel for me carrying fuel to and from Jita, for example, or taking other little modules, etc., off to markets to sell. Essentially, if you're looking for a hostile space cargo runner and you don't need as much space as something like, for instance, a Mammoth, then the Immicus Covert Ops is going to be the ship for you. Building on the success of the standard Magnate-class frigate, along with the prestige and exclusivity of its gold and silver variants, Carnid Innovation was quick to broker the rights for the Amar Navy to utilise the already established vessel's hull as a basis for the Magnate Covert Ops. The Magnate's already well-developed astrometrics and scanning subsystems needed very little modification by Carnid Innovation in order to develop the Covert Ops variant, which was drafted in a swift 3-month program before being prototyped and rapidly pushed through approval. Already in the process of developing cloaking and Covert Ops subsystems for a number of years before work on the Magnate Covert Ops commenced, Carnid Innovation was the primary organisation to take advantage of the collapse of the Creel Air project. Through swift and decisive negotiation, they were able to secure a fully functional prototype of the Heron Covert Ops, with much of their technology based on the reverse engineering of the Caldari electronic systems. Most of these technological advancements have gone on to be utilised in various applications across a wide range of Carnid and Imperial Starship designs. Now the Magnate Covert Ops, if we take a look at its stats here as well, again, has some nice little variants. If we look at its trait descriptions, again, we still have that same 7.5% scan resolution, the 5% reduction to minimum scan radius, and narrow resonance scan radius, but then in frigate command, we get our 5% cargo hold capacity and 5% inertia modifier. That's 25% obviously at full training. Now this means that the Magnate has the fastest align time and the largest armour tank of any of these frigates. Again, obviously if you're going to be taking sustained firepower, your actual tanking capabilities don't matter all that much, but it's useful to know because it means if you're going to extend something with rigs, I would extend the armour tank, not the shields, because you're getting a bigger percentage increase. But that fast align time makes the Magnate technically the quickest for flying through safe space. If you want to go and pick up your planetary production materials, if you're jumping through high sec or low sec, etc., and you just want to jump from system to system to system without the fear of gate camps, then the Magnate is the quickest to arrive in a system and then align and achieve warp, which makes it the fastest for long distance travel. Now this is the one I would personally use if I'm going to be scanning in low sec and high sec for various different things like the different PvE sites, and if I was going to be using pointing for my fleet, this is a great option for it, simply because you can align and warp very quickly onto the site, hopefully get some basic tackle onto whatever it is you're coming in for. Yes, you're probably going to be blown up, but by that point hopefully your friends have also arrived in order to assist with the grab. Now you might ask, well, why wouldn't you just use something like an Executioner Interceptor for that then, which obviously is a lot harder to kill, stays alive a little bit better than the Magnate Covert Ops. The point is you can get into combat that little bit faster thanks to the align time, and you get all those scanning bonuses, so you can reach and scan ships that the interceptors cannot quite reach due to the minimum scan radius not being as small as yours. Obviously as well, the scan radius being smaller than would if you were to fit a scanner onto an interceptor as well, means that your opponent is less likely to receive that notification before the fleet warps in on them. Finally then, we come to the Minmatar Probe Covert Ops, which I've currently got fitted with a Breeze nanocore, making it a delightful Sakura pink, and giving it a little bit of extra turret DPS, for whatever that matters. Now, also developed by the Thucker tribe like the original probe was, specifically Thucker Mix, the Probe Covert Ops' introduction was surrounded by controversy that caused a bitter war of words between the Minmatar Republic and the Caldari state. Developed in secret, the Probe Covert Ops was designed as a black operations joint venture between the Republic Security Services and the Thucker tribe, with the intention that it would act as a covert scout for both organisations. Significantly faster than the standard probe, the Probe Covert Ops was designed to be a fast-moving astrometric powerhouse capable of scanning, decrypting, and disseminating both environmental and combat intelligence as quickly as possible, and was intended to be used to support both combat scouting operations and the search for new pockets of resources for the Thucker tribe to exploit in the Great Wildlands. The Probe Covert Ops is one of the most capable Covert Ops vessels in the cluster. How the Thucker tribe came to possess such intricate details of cloaking technology so quickly after the collapse of the Creel Air project has been a point of conflict between the state and the Republic since the vessel first became public knowledge. According to Thucker Mix, the technology was acquired legitimately after a former Creel Air scientist was recruited by the Thucker tribe to assist in its development. The Caldari state and the Ishikone Corporation, however, continue to deny this position and claim that Thucker Mix acquired the technology via black market trading with the Guristas pirates. Anyway, if we were to have a look then at the Probe Covert Ops' stats, this is my personal favourite, mainly because in my sort of roleplay backstory for my character, I am a Thucker tribe Minmatar. I love their ships, I love how they work, and I just love the story of these caravans roaming through space in the Great Wildlands. I also cannot wait to get my hands on the Angel Veteran skin, that just looks amazing. Anyway, as with the other Covert Ops frigates, of course, the Probe has the scan resolution increase and a decrease to both Resonance Simulator minimum scan radius and Narrow Resonance Scanner scan radius, same as all the other four. The difference here arrives under Frigate Command, giving it a 4% reduction per level in signature radius, for a full 20% reduction to the signature radius at full level 5 there. It's also technically the tankiest overall. It has the highest natural defense. Its shield isn't as big as the Herons, and its armor isn't as big as the Magnates, but it's not much smaller than either, which makes for a slightly larger total overall. Having that smallest signature radius and smallest source radius means that it's very difficult to find, and it's very difficult to lock onto if they do, which buys you a few extra seconds just to get away. It's also the fastest flight velocity on paper. It's not as fast as the Heron at full training, but it's still a very fast frigate. It means it's not as fast as the Heron, but it does have better agility. It's also not as agile as the Magnate, but it is faster, so it's kind of a halfway point between the Heron Covert Ops and the Magnate Covert Ops, which makes it a good middle ground and a jack of all trades, which means, frankly, you can rig this for whatever, and I have a fleet of half a dozen of these parked in my home station. Sometimes I'll fit for propulsion, inertia and warp stabilizers, etc. if I want to go combat scanning. Sometimes if I'm running cargo, I'll fit just inertia stabilizers and just go for extra flight velocity and things like that. You can rig this one really as you wish. Whilst it's not as good as any of the other three for any one particular thing, ultimately I would argue that the Probe Covert Ops is the one that fulfills all three roles second best to each other. So if you want one ship to do everything, the Probe Covert Ops is going to be the best. Whereas if you want to specialise, then the Heron, the Magnate or the Immicus will fit your needs better for that one particular task. So those are my personal thoughts and opinions regarding the 4 different Covert Ops frigates currently available in EVE Echoes. Which one is your favourite though? I'd love to hear that in the comment section down below, along with an understanding of why you like that one in particular. And believe me, there is nothing wrong with just I think it looks the coolest, because quite frankly, as I said with the Probe, there's so little difference with a lot of these frigates that whilst some of them are better at certain tasks than others, it's not by all that much, and you'll find that any of them can do any of those tasks comfortably if you prefer the look of it. So, while as I say, like, the Heron is best for gate camp running, if you prefer the look of the Heron to the Immicus and you want to use it for cargo running, you can do it. It's just got a slightly smaller cargo hold, which doesn't matter if you're not trying to fill it up every single time. But there we go. Those are just my thoughts. I'd love to hear yours in the comment section down below. Otherwise, folks, let me know how you guys are finding scanning, whether it's wide range or narrow range scanning, and do make sure that you check out the videos I've put out on those two if you haven't already, just so you are fully equipped and know everything you need to know about narrow resonance scanning or wide resonance scanning. That all said and done though, folks, thank you for watching this one right the way to the end. Happy sailing, and see you in New Eden!